you know, continuing to make plays at the second level of the defense. You know, obviously it was a really good defensive front that we went against, but, you know, I think we showed a couple things that we hadn't showed to this point in the season, you know, which is typical at times when you have such a long season of being able to get to certain things as you grow and as you continue to develop as an offense. But I thought they did a good job of finding ways to get some hard yards.
Yeah, I know you're 10 games in the season at this point, but when you first stepped up into the offensive coordinator role, how did you approach, you know, that change with you and your relationship with Jalen, how you wanted to support him through the offense that's kind of lasted to this point that you'll go through?
Yeah, I mean, it's been a very unique transition of going from, you know, being with the quarterback and with the quarterback only for 2 years, you know, in every single meeting, and then, you know, just manage your time to make sure that you're doing what you need to get done in your new role, which pertains to the entire offense. So just managing that, I think, has been, obviously for me, the biggest change. But, you know, I think, you know, Alex has done a really good job so far of handling those meetings and building the tapes that, you know, that he needs to see to get them ready to play.
It looked like in Kansas City that they made a concerted effort to do whatever they could to slow A.J. down. Now, obviously, it's easier said than done, but you have another option in Devontae to take advantage. Is that something you think about in the week where you're like, this feels like they're going to try and take him away, it's a Devontae week, or is it something you recognize in game and just change?
Yeah, I mean, that was something that they've shown on film, and, you know, we had a huge 3rd and 6 conversion where Devontae caught, you know, we motioned to a bunch and he got, you know, the little option route over the middle, where they actually had a double on A.J. and a double on Smitty. So, you know, we found a way to get those guys freed up, and they made a fantastic play between Jalen and Devontae. But, you know, it definitely is a huge positive when teams do try to double a player or try to, you know, put their attention on the players that, you know, we have the ability to create some other matchups as well.
As you introduce packages that you haven't used this season, are these things you rep during the summer, or are they kind of put in now as a reaction to obviously Dallas being down and things like that?
Yeah, there's always a ton of carryover, you know, in terms of teaching and how we put things in and how we sequence things together. Now there just may be different bodies that are doing that job. But, you know, some of the stuff that we've done is obviously stuff that we've carried in our system for the last 3 years, and, you know, we just felt like it was a good opportunity for us to pull that out based on the circumstance.
The play after.
I'll come right back to you.
Go ahead, Mark.
Go ahead. I'll come right back to you. All right. Sorry.
The play after that 3rd down conversion to Devontae, I guess Nick had said that Jalen checked and saw that Devontae was on single coverage, you know, the 41-yard pass. First of all, like, how good of a recognition is that by Jalen and also by Devontae to kind of, you know, see what was going on and then, you know.
Yeah, it was a great play by those guys, and that was something that, you know, we had talked about a lot earlier in the week and then throughout the course of the game. So, you know, we had a very similar play on, and, you know, there was a specific look that they got, and then we talked about if we got this look, then, you know, we could take this ball, you know, vertically with number 2. So it was great execution by them. You know, I don't know if you guys will remember, but it was very similar to, we had a 4th and 7 in the Giants game last year. It's a very, very similar play versus a similar defensive look. So, you know, we always try to have answers, and, you know, those guys have great instincts as players. Jalen made a fantastic throw. Smitty made a fantastic catch. But, you know, when stuff like that occurs in the game, that's, you know, generally, for the most part, that's stuff that has been kind of talked about and waiting for the opportunity for it to happen and come to life. And the players did a great job of bringing that play to life.
The 5 sacks you allowed most of the season, Spags and McDermott from the same kind of defensive mentality, both under Jim Johnson. Do you expect to see a lot of the same things from these guys this week?
Well, yeah, I think they have a tremendous front, and, you know, obviously they kind of grew up under the same defensive tree, so to speak. So, I think that's a pretty general response is if you see, a team having trouble with something or something that caused some issues offensively is to kind of diagnose why and see if you can try to replicate that. So, we have to be ready for whatever they throw at us, whether it's they've shown it before or it's something unscouted. So, I got full confidence in that our guys will be ready to go.
What did you think the biggest issue was last week? It was
In the first half with sacks?
Yeah.
Yeah, it wasn't one particular thing. I think, ultimately, it comes down to communication and making sure that we're all on the same page and putting the guys in the best situation possible to go out there and execute and do what they do well. So I think, credit to this group. It was a really, really resilient effort in the second half, and you try to mix some things up and do some different things to kind of help a team that's rushing the passer really good. And we hit a couple big screens for some big plays and got the ball out of our hands a little quicker.
Without Dallas, the personnel groupings were a little bit different, a little bit new. Is that sort of something game planned, or is that something feel for the game, in game?
No, it's definitely game planned. And then how much of that you use, is kind of dictated by the flow of the game and the success that you're having with it and the matchups that you create. So, that was something that we wanted to do, obviously, going into the game, and I think the guys did a good job of executing it.
How good are the
In terms of
safeties at
finding
disguise,
answers.
pre-snap disguise?
Buffalo?
Yeah, those two safeties, how good are they at their pre-snap?
They're really good. I mean, they are tied together on a string. You can tell they've played together for a long time, and they have a great feel for how to marry coverage. And I think when you play two guys that have as much experience as they do in the back end, they feed well off of each other and make their disguises merry.
In terms of finding answers and maximizing your opportunities from your offensive side, you were mentioning about going from quarterback to full coordinator. I mean, do you find that you see things more through the perspective of the quarterback, so through Jalen, and what maybe helped you to kind of see perspective through outside positions that might be able to help you through that?
Yeah, I think everybody views the game through kind of their own unique lens. And having played quarterback, I mean, that's really the lens that I kind of view the game through. So since your quarterback's playing well, you're gonna have a chance to win every game that you play. So, but I've been fortunate enough to be around some fantastic coaches that have taught me so much throughout my career in regard to other positions, and including the staff that we have here. So, I've learned so much from these guys here in the last 3 years, and guys that I've been with over the course of my career of how we watch practice and how we structure our off season to make sure that we are really well versed in what everybody has to do.
Brian, Nick had mentioned that if he wants a play called in game, like he'll let him know and call this play. Like, how has that been sort of finding a rhythm with him in game? As two offensive-minded, play callers and keeping the flow, I guess.
Yeah, that's how it's been here the last 3 years. So obviously Nick is the head coach, and if he wants us to run something, like our job is to play to his vision and how we attack defenses. But for the most part, it is all like we're all in this together, and there's nothing that's on that play sheet that's like not thoroughly discussed and talked about before it gets to the point that it gets called throughout the week. So, I think we have a really, really good flow, a really good understanding of how we want to play as an offense and what we need to do in order to win that game. We talk so much about like all of these games are like so independent, and there's a way to win them all, but you got to kind of figure that out sometimes in the middle of it, or it might change course through the middle of it. So just being able to manage that and have that feel, I think Nick does a great job of managing the game in that way.